and it was time to grow into more than a ghost child in love with, and afraid of, mirages. Animas, 1981. The highway to Silverton, Colorado is an ear-popping ascent, with hairpin turns and missing guardrails. Dad hugged the mountainside with the van as we climbed, tapping his horn before each blind curve to warn truckers of our presence. We had left the hellish reservation border town we'd just moved to behind, and were headed to a vacation paradise located past a ski resort named Purgatory. As soon as Dad pulled into our favorite camping spot on the Animas River, I jumped out of the van and ran down to the water. At the age of 12, I was still knobby-kneed and tube-socked, my brown skin spattered with mud. How lucky it felt to be a kid, unhindered by a woman's body. My bones remained hollow and birdy that summer, boyish and inconsequential for a few more blissful months. Tell me your favorite childhood memory, and I'll tell you who you are. I remember the laughter my sisters and I shared as we tossed tiny balls of bread to see through fish along the shoreline. I remember Dad fiddling with the worms he used for bait, and Mom asking a kayaker about a rapid called mandatory thrashing. I remember all of us working together to pitch the tent and make a temporary home. Our time on the river felt like spiritual repair. Dad grilled the trout we'd caught during the day. He whittled long marshmallow sticks, and we sat around the fire, listening to his reservation ghost stories. The fog wall that rose one night when his buddies chanted Indian songs, the mountain lion girl that scared him as a kid. Dad burned with energy, and long after the moon rose in the sky, he kept talking. We'd go to bed exhausted, knowing that in the morning he would heat our shoes by the fire he stoked at sunrise. Nostalgia plays tricks on memory, and the Animas River is consistently sepia-tinted in my mind. Dad was always my hero anyway, so when I remember him at the river, I remember his bonfire stories, or the way he used to let us touch the dent in his skull where he got shot by his brother's arrow. I don't stop to think about his anger, or his strict rules, or how often he was gone. I don't dwell on his workaholic ways, or consider the overbearing weight he and Mom placed on us to excel. Remembering the river helps me forget, at least for a moment, the challenges, fears, and feelings of inadequacy I experienced in my childhood. Memoria Praeteritorum Bonorum, my own set of rose-colored glasses. A trick of the mind that helps me highlight the peaceful days, the quiet ones that punctuated the violence, pressures, and confusion of being a native girl in a northwestern New Mexico town where cowboys still hated Indians. 3 white teenagers had murdered 3 native men just before my family and I moved there for my father's new job when I was 6 years old. Navajo people marched in the streets that April, and though we missed the protests and backlash, the town's tension remained consistent, even after the Civil Rights Commission came in to keep the peace. My early childhood took place in an era when good Native families didn't move off their home reservations because close friends and relatives called relocation a betrayal. It was a time of conflicting choices, when young people like my father and his siblings, who grew up on the reservation, faced a dilemma that pitted high reservation unemployment and double-digit inflation against the desire to belong to their tribe. In moving from our Quatsan, Yuma Reservation in California to the Navajo Reservation in New Mexico, my father chose to be an individual, and my parents decided they wanted their kids to be mainstream Americans, passing down an implicit appreciation of social climbing, along with, and in conflict with, the realization that our people are excluded.